Morning, Facebook. It is September 11th, 2011. It's the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and Flight 93. What I want to get into right now is some thoughts I've had on it for a long time, but just never really got into it. So I'm going to start on, being as how it's the 10th anniversary and everybody's, made such a big deal about it. I just want to say right from the get-go, I don't want to discredit anybody's loved ones or family or close friends that, as being said, police, firemen, first responders to 9/11, the World Trade Center, and, the Flight 93 and Pentagon attacks. I don't want to discredit any of those people. Those people have every right to grieve, to mourn, to even celebrate their lives change, because of that day. But what I want to get into, seeing as how it's the 10th anniversary, I want to go back to Desert Storm, Desert Shield, if anybody remembers that. I know a lot of people who that I know, they don't even remember that. Some people I know were, in their early 20s, and they can't even remember that time. I can remember I was in, 4th grade when that happened. And, I barely remember it. The only thing I remember about it was Saddam Hussein. And, it was very, very hush-hush. Not like today's media where everything's going around, everything's on the internet. Makes you wonder, though, if the people from 9/11 who lost, loved ones or, family members or, close friends, not even just close friends, just family members and loved ones, if they were compensated by the government, did they receive some kind of financial compensation? I guess a lot of the people who were in the attacks were probably the breadwinners for their families. The government step in and help out at least? That I wonder. Terrorism, by my definition, I would think, would be to, promote fear in people. And by, the 9/11 attacks, I guess you would say that terrorism was well served. To this day, there's so much fear. It's ridiculous of just 9/11. It's become this huge event where everybody remembers it, and it was a big thing to our nation, which is ridiculous in my eyes. I think that promotes terrorism by itself. By making such a big deal of it, it's all over TV everywhere. People in California, I don't see too many people in California who have family in New York. I don't understand that, way across the other side of the friggin' country. I don't see that. I don't know how they were affected. That doesn't register with me. I don't get it. Yesterday, I was at work, and I had one of the guys from my store. He was leaving, and it was maybe around 8 or 9 o'clock. And he says to me, he was heading back to New York, and he says, well, hopefully I'll see you next week, depending if I make it through the tunnels back to New York and don't get bombed. And I was like, seriously? Seriously, So, terrorism, right there, terrorism. And I would think we were promoting terrorism by making such a big deal of it across the United States. Another thing is, Bush, I guess, was president at the time. Well, W was president at the time, which a lot of people, including myself, consider that to be a joke. And one of the things I didn't like about Bush was I believe he committed treason on a mass scale, which is pretty damn close to terrorism because of a lot of people had their phone lines tapped, which was an anti-terrorism measure, which really just promotes terrorism. A lot of people are in fear because their phone lines are being tapped. They don't know what's going on. I mean, granted, there's a lot more, like I said, there's a lot more spin in the media, a lot more information going around because of the internet. But the government still has stuff that they keep hush-hush. And you really have to wonder, all that treason that was going on, where Bush tapped everybody's phone lines. Not everybody, but I mean, there's just so many counts, it's ridiculous. That's treason in itself. And, of course, this guy gets off with no punishment. Was it for the greater good? I don't see any result from it. I see a lot of worldwide panic. Well, not worldwide, maybe countrywide, And, of course, Clinton and, Bush Sr., they stepped it up and, got into it, and they were, some big supporters for, when it all went down. They were huge supporters. But one of the most memorable people involved was, of course, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. We didn't have Bush, come to the rescue and say something that would, ease everybody's, anxieties. We had Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, and hell of a guy, really. Hell of a guy to step in the way he did and say what he had to say. Also, the movie that I saw about it later on, a couple years after, I know they were talking about like Spider-Man, releasing Spider-Man, and having to scrub the Twin Towers out of scenes from the Spider-Man and everything, and I tried to download it one time on the internet. I was, whatever about it. Tried to download this movie, and I ended up getting this 9/11 movie. And, it was a lot of government conspiracy stuff, but all in all, it made so much sense to me, They talked about the Pentagon. They showed whatever video was left that the government hadn't seized, or maybe just it was video that had been released. And the way it looked like it could have been a missile that hit the Pentagon. They didn't have... Excuse me. They didn't have the wings. The building was just damaged in the center. There was no place where wings would have hit. When they pulled an engine from the wreckage, they pulled an engine that had no comparison to the engine that should have been in the plane that was supposedly, hit the Pentagon. So, there was that, which really makes it look like a cover-up. Also, going back to Bush, he was friends with Osama bin Laden. Well, family friends, I guess you could say, through, I guess, the oil company, or, whatnot. There was, speculation there. There was also talk about how Osama bin Laden had been treated in an American hospital with government, what was it? Like a government liaison or something. In a hospital he was being treated in America. Also the terrorism handbook, how, I think it was like 2 weeks before it happened, they were putting a new anti-terrorism manual together for, I guess it was the FBI or CIA, and the cover of it had the Twin Towers in sites. So that's a little suspicious in its own right. The other thing I wanted to say about it was that, about 9/11 in general, which kind of really pisses me off that they have commercialized it. Like on TV, you see like these coins. That's what gets me the most. They sell these coins, and it's supposed to be like, whether it's silver or gold or whatever, that came from the World Trade Center wreckage. And it depicts the picture of the World Trade Center, and the whole "we'll never forget" thing, and just the fact that, like, I woke up this morning, turned on the TV, and the first thing I see is this crap about the Twin Towers. That's not what I want to see when I first wake up. You are blatantly committing terrorism right there, because you remind people of the fear, the shit that they can't handle. That's what really gets me. And it's become a national holiday. Now, that in itself is ridiculous. Also, at the time, I know Saddam Hussein was still a threat. Of course, Bush, in Bush's term, Saddam Hussein was captured and executed. And it's not much different today, as to where under Osama bin Laden was captured and killed. Well, mainly just killed in President Obama's term, which, kind of makes me realize that some things may never change. We'll always be after somebody, as long as they can, keep us in fear, then terrorism will always be a factor. So, that's pretty much all I have today. So, if you are a loved one, if you or a friend, or, whatever in relation to these people who were lost in 9/11, then by all means, mourn, grieve, or celebrate your lives' change. Celebrate the change in your lives and how strong you become because of this incident. But to the people who have no ties to it, don't buy into it. And if you want to say screw 9/11, do it. Screw 9/11. That's what I say. It affects my life in no way whatsoever. I can remember where I was when it happened. I was watching it on TV. And I was like, holy crap, this can't be happening. And at the same time, I really didn't care about anything in the news. And it was at that point that I realized, that our world is friggin' crazy. And it's a crazy world, so hold on and enjoy the ride. And if you want to say fuck 9/11, then like my video. That's all I gotta say.